In the last 2 hours, Didier Drogba, Yaya Toure and Stéphane Mbia full of praise for George Weah. PDP congratulates Liberian President-elect, where in the last 4 hours President Lungu George Weah, King George Weah and the TB Joshua Connection, by Tawiah Akiampong. In the last 6 hours, overwhelming crowd, faulty sound system stop Weah's victory speech. Shegun Odegbami, George Weah's election a big lesson for Nigeria. In the last 8 hours, overwhelming crowd forces George Weah to postpone victory speech. Weah postpones victory speech. George Weah, Atiku, second Jews react to victory. Former AC Milan legend, George Weah, enters Liberian office in pics. Sports stars who made it big in politics. George Weah, a unique African leader. United States congratulates Liberia's president-elect George Weah. Liberia, Weah postpones victory speech. Earlier today, ex-football star Weah elected Liberia president by wide margin. Weah's election a big lesson for Nigeria. Odegbami. Liberians, Paris Saint-Germain, others hail Weah's presidential victory. U.S. congratulates Liberia, where Weah declared Liberia's 24th president. Weah elected as new Liberian leader. Nigeria president congratulates George Weah on election. Former soccer star George Weah wins Liberia's presidency. Ekweremadu congratulates George Weah, hails Liberians on Ogbinde, tips Weah to succeed in Liberia. Buhari, Jonathan congratulates President-elect George Weah. Buhari congratulates Liberia's President-elect George Weah. Former ECOWAS speaker congratulates George Weah, hails Liberians hailed George Weah's presidential victory. George Weah, from soccer turf to presidency. George Weah confirmed as Liberia's president. Liberia's election commission declares Weah president-elect. Ex-footballer George Weah wins Liberia vote. George Weah, former soccer star, declared Liberian president-elect. Ex-footballer George Weah elected Liberian president yesterday. UN chief congratulates Liberia's next president. News of the day from around the world. Dec. 29 George Weah wins Liberia presidential election. Soccer world celebrates Liberian VP concedes defeat, congratulates president-elect. Profile of Liberia's president-elect George Weah. Jonathan congratulates George Weah, Liberia's president-elect. Liberia's Weah under pressure to deliver after election win. Liberia's elections board certifies Weah presidential win. What Liberia president-elect George Weah must do. Good luck. Jonathan, former soccer star, declared Liberian president-elect. Liberia's VP Joseph Boakai congratulates George Weah on election win. Nigeria President Muhammadu Buhari congratulates Liberia's George Weah. It's official, George Weah is Liberia's president-elect. 10 things you didn't know about George Weah. Football celebrates Weah's win in Liberian presidential election. White House congratulates new Liberian president on victory. Jonathan congratulates Liberia's president-elect Weah. Former Islander and soccer star George Weah elected president of Liberia. The latest, Liberia declares George Weah president-elect. Ex-footballer elected president of Liberia. Buhari congratulates George Weah. Tears of joy. George Weah faces numerous challenges in poor Liberia. Buhari congratulates Liberia President-elect George Weah. The latest, Nigeria President congratulates Weah on election. Congratulations George Weah. Liberia's Weah under pressure to deliver after dominant election win. George Weah's opponent, Boakai, concedes defeat. Soccer legend George Weah elected President of Liberia. President Buhari congratulates George Weah. Weah on target to score political goal. Liberia, Vice President Bo's 2 election defeat. Weah becomes the President of Liberia. The latest, Liberia's new leader Weah says he's honored. Weah's rival concedes defeat in Liberia election. Liberia youth hope George Weah victory will bring change. George Weah wins presidency of Liberia. Why I concede defeat to George Weah. Liberia Vice President Boakai football celebrates Weah's victory. Liberia's VP Boakai concedes defeat, congratulates Weah. George Weah, an ex-footballer, wins Liberia's presidential election. Liberia's Vice President Joseph Boakai concedes defeat to George Weah.